Good morning, my name is Cindy and I paint pretty things. Recently, I had the opportunity to do a one-on-one portfolio chat with the very talented Julie Robine. If you don't know, Owen Davey, whose Instagram handle is Owen Davey Draws, hosts various portfolio chats for marginalized and oppressed communities to help diversify the illustration industry. And I highly recommend that you follow him so then you can be alerted and know exactly when portfolio reviews are to be scheduled. It's an absolutely amazing resource to have, and I was lucky enough that I was able to get a slot with Julie. Talking to Julie and going over my portfolio and my goals as a book art illustrator were really helpful because she was able to give me very constructive criticism of what's working in my portfolio and what's not working. And so this gave me a lot of motivation to improve my portfolio and to really work on pieces that help showcase my skill and my style a lot better. Along with that motivation, however, came an unexpected thing, which was that then I kind of began to overanalyze my portfolio's weaknesses. And because now I was aware of what places that I could improve it and really starting to see, okay, yeah, I do have weaknesses here and there, it made me overthink my art. And so I had a bout of what we call art block. Personally, art block isn't something that happens very often to me, or if it does, it's quite short because I've been able to hone my process and my schedule well enough that I'm able to kind of just work through the mud relatively quickly and keep going on with my art. So this was especially difficult for me because I haven't dealt with it in quite some time. And it had me thinking and had me trying to remember ways that I've worked through it before, because that muscle memory wasn't quite there. I was super excited to work on new pieces and strengthen my portfolio to try and get it more client ready and art director ready. And so even though I was excited, when I started working on these new pieces, I felt this new sense of pressure to do better than I've ever done before. And automatically that sense of pressure definitely had me second guessing and overthinking on everything that I was doing. And because I had this new knowledge of ways that I could improve on my art, it made me realize how weak I was in a lot of places, and the knowledge did not help me to grow those skills. I had the knowledge that I didn't have the skill set I wanted at the time, but knowledge alone isn't enough. It's practice that gets you to where you want to be. So in these growing pains, this is where art block occurs. Some of you have may seen Titus Lunter's graph, which shows the gap between your taste as an artist and your skill. So looking at the graph, you can see there are waves where they hit and connect and then they come apart again. So for example, if you're in a place where your quote unquote taste is lower than your skill level is higher, then you're in a space where you're feeling very good and very confident about your art. But naturally, as you progress, as you learn more, then your taste goes higher, and the taste goes higher at a quicker pace than your actual skill can keep up with. And this is where you're in the gap, and this is where you start feeling all of a sudden, oh my gosh, why can I suddenly not draw anything? Suddenly I'm just like incapable of drawing things that I've drawn 100 times over. Why is that? It's because you're in the gap. Here's a quote about this from Ira Glass. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste, but it's like there is this gap. For the first couple years that you're making stuff, what you're making isn't so good. It's not that great. It's trying to be good. It has ambition to be good, but it's not that good. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. And your taste is good enough that you can tell what you're making is kind of a disappointment to you. A lot of people never get past that phase. They quit. And if you are just starting out or you are still in this phase, you gotta know it's normal. And the most important thing you can do is a lot of work. It is only by going through a volume of work that you're going to catch up and close that gap. And the work you're making will be as good as your ambitions. It takes a while. It's gonna take you a while. It's normal to take you a while. You just have to fight your way through that. Ira talks about this in the sense of a beginner, but in my experience, there are seasoned professionals who can also feel this way, where all of a sudden they're in this stride where they're feeling really good about their art, they're feeling very proud, and then they hit a wall. They hit a point where all of a sudden they don't feel so proud and they don't feel so confident. So what do we do when we're in this position? The key here, I think, is the word confidence. You are met with the reality that you are not able to execute what you're trying to execute to the skill level that you would like to execute it. So this is a hit to your confidence, especially when you were feeling confident before, or for a short period of time you were feeling good, and then all of a sudden you're kind of drop back down again. This is a very humbling experience, and it's something that is hard to deal with when you go from high and you drop back down to what feels like a low. So I think the key thing here is to work on your confidence. So the way that I deal with this is that instead of challenging myself, I actually will do the opposite. I'll draw or I'll paint things that are easy to me, things that come very simply to me. For me, that's portraits, especially if I want to draw a pretty woman or a pretty man. Those are some of my favorite topics to do. So I will go and I'll just paint a bust, 3/4 angle, the well-known comfort angle for a portrait, and I'll just paint that, and there's no goal aside from I just want to paint this pretty person. And I found that in doing this, I find stride again because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I am good at this. I do have some skill. It's just that perhaps I was attempting to do something that I'm not quite yet skilled enough to do. And I was just challenging myself, but there are other skills that come easily to me still, and that I still have some basic technical skill that I can be proud of still. So it doesn't have to be portraits, it can be whatever it is that is a comfort thing for you, and the key is that it comes easily. There's no overthinking, there's no second guessing, there's just, I used to do this all the time, it's my absolute favorite thing to do, I'm gonna do it, and when I do it, I know that I'll be happy with the way this looks. So for me, it was portrait paintings. For you, it could be not even a full finished image. It could just be a doodle. Whatever it is, find a way to rebuild your confidence and remind yourself how far you've come with your skill now. Another key is that when you're in this mindset and you're very much overthinking things and you're feeling like you're incapable of doing things, your stamina to draw will probably be lower, meaning that your ability to really focus and draw for a long period of time, it's going to be shorter. And so when that happens, you should be kind to yourself. You should take note, feel that even getting a 30-minute sketch is really bogging you down, and be respectful of that feeling and say to yourself, okay, 30 minutes is really hard for me. And you don't have to feel shame for that or frustrated. Of course, it is frustrating. You don't have to look down on yourself for feeling that way, especially when I'm sure your mindset is, I normally can paint for multiple hours. I can paint for a whole day straight and not have a problem. So why is it so hard right now? It's because you're struggling mentally. Your mental load is, well, it's overloaded. And so sometimes you need to be flexible and adjust to that. So what I often do is I'll figure out, okay, what is a time that I can manage right now? Sometimes it's literally just 15 minutes. If it's 10, fine. Set a timer. Dedicate yourself to that time that you set. And then tell yourself, okay, when the timer's up, then we can stop. Either you can say we can stop for a break, or you can only commit to those 15 minutes and see how you feel afterwards. Sometimes you might find that literally just taking that really hard step of starting gives you the motivation and the energy you need to continue. So then you do the 15 minutes, you start getting into it. And then you feel, okay, well, maybe I can take a 10-minute break and then do another 15. So then you do that. And then guess what? Your 15 has already become 30 minutes when before you were like, I can't even do 30. But it's just been spread out. Yeah, technically it takes more time in the long run, but you still made progress. And so it's really important to be flexible and to be kind to yourself. And when things don't feel workable, to find a compromise that will make it feel more workable for you, because some work is better than no work. Another way you can build this confidence is by doing really small, low-pressure studies. This is pretty similar to finding your comfort thing to draw. I don't often do studies actually, so I wouldn't call it a comfort thing, but I do find that it gives me a nice focus that is very low pressure. For me, my favorite thing is drawing things from observation because it's easy. There's no new information I need to pull from my brain. There's nothing that I need to figure out, no angles, no perspective, not even the color I have to figure out myself. Literally everything is there. All I'm doing is I'm replicating it. And I found that really helpful because not only is it helping me improve my skill, but it's helping build that confidence up again and is really aiding me in a way that's long-term and also short-term. It's helping me with my confidence right now, and it's also helping me with my foundational skills for the future too. So again, a simple picture or a simple object. Just do a general painting of it, even if it's like, here's an apple, and the end result is an apple. And you can find a lot of satisfaction in simple things like that. The key really is that it's low pressure, there aren't expectations, it's really just, I'm going to do this for fun. And the bonus is that it helps me in my skill as well. Another thing that I often try to remind myself, which is difficult to do when you're in the thick of it, is that it will really benefit you to work through the frustration. Especially because oftentimes when you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this looks awful, this is the worst, and you're just like working, the idea or the bad opinion you have of your work is sometimes just perceived, and it's being colored by the poor mood you have in that moment. I can't tell you the number of times that I've been working on something and I'm like grinding through it, I'm having a frustrating time, I'm not able to figure out what it is that I even dislike about this thing. It goes through hundreds of phases, so I'll put it down, I'll come back to it later, and I'll be looking through the different versions that I've created, and I come to realize, this is good actually. Why did I hate this so bad? Sometimes it's literally just the perception, it's the mood that you're in that makes you feel like this is the worst thing, and then you come back later and you're like, actually this is literally fine. I don't know what my problem was. And sometimes your problem is that you've just been forcing yourself to work on something and forcing yourself to make it work when all you need is just to refresh yourself and come back to it with new eyes. And it's this resilience to keep coming back to it while also being graceful and kind to yourself that will allow you to finish the project even if the process of it was very frustrating for you. And being able to finish it alone, at first you'll be like, thank God it's done. Oh my gosh, I never want to look at this again. But I often find that after I finish something that was really frustrating to me and I give it distance and I give it time, then I can come back and be like, you know what, I'm actually really proud that I finished it because there are some things in this that I really do like. Some of my most popular pieces are pieces that I hated when I finished it. And then later on, I looked back and I was like, you know, I don't know what I was so frustrated and mad about because this turned out really good. Another big contributor to this is also the pressure that you put on yourself to make the best possible thing you've ever made in your life. I won't even say the pressure to make it look perfect because it's art, and also perfection is perceived and it's constantly changing based on, again, your taste or the taste of other people. But with each piece, you've got to remind yourself that there will always be more in the future, which is a good thing, right? Because we do it because we like doing it. For better or for worse, we like doing it. And so that there will be more opportunities for you to prove yourself or whatever it is you're trying to achieve in future things. So for each project, I see, okay, what are lessons that I've learned from this one? What are ways that I've taken steps towards the goal I'm trying to do? And how can I get even closer to this goal in the next piece? What are things that I consider doing in my next one, whether it be in the process, in the prep, in the actual rendering, in the painting? What are things that I can keep in mind for a future project that might make the next one go easier and with less frustration? This way, even if you truly do hate what you made, you can still have a bit of positivity, I suppose, from it. You can still see ways that creating it was beneficial to you, even if you don't love the final product. And if all else fails, then definitely maybe it's time to just step away for a bit. Again, there's a lot of power in separating yourself from something that you just feel so hooked onto. Just stepping away, giving it some room to breathe, giving yourself room to breathe, and just like living life, being a person outside of you and the sketch pad, the canvas, the iPad. And then you can really have a change of perspective that you probably wouldn't expect from simply walking away and just going to eat dinner. And don't feel bad about having to step away either. There is this pressure, especially if you're on a deadline, where it's like, people keep telling me to take breaks, but I don't have time to take breaks. I promise you, you do. You do have time to take breaks. Even if that break is 1 minute, that is still a break. And especially if you can only take 1 minute breaks and do them more often, there is a lot more benefit to that alone than you would ever expect. Because you're thinking, like, what the heck is 1 minute going to do for me? Well, that's 1 minute you're not looking at the art piece. That's 1 minute you can take to go drink water or eat, have a snack, anything else you've been avoiding. Go to the bathroom, go pee. Pull yourself away from this laser focus that you have, and maybe even break the cycle of this tunnel vision that you might have going on with this piece that's causing you frustration. Something that they really, really recommended in art school was doing timed sessions. So timed work sessions, and even more importantly, timed breaks. So you're working for 45, take a break, 15-minute break. That's an hour, nice and clean. And it keeps you in this rhythm, and it makes sure that you're stepping away to get that refreshed feeling. And the ideal is that during those 15 minutes, you feel motivated and you're excited to do the next session. Sometimes this happens and sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's okay. We can, again, be flexible and try to find what compromise needs to be made right now. Is 45 minutes too long? Do we need to just stop for today and then try again later? The great thing about your work process is that you are in charge of it, and so that you get to decide and figure out what works best for you. If something used to work well for you, but it's not working right now, that means that we can adjust. We can adjust super easy and remind ourselves that this is flexible, that you are in charge of your destiny, and that if you need to take breaks more often, take them longer, then you can, and you should. There's often a kind of comparison people tend to make where it's like, I haven't drawn for 3 months. That is way too long. Everyone else is out there drawing every single day. How could I ever keep up or catch up with them if I'm over here stuck not drawing for 3 months? I know people who draw every single day. They have this ability in them to draw small and consistently every day. And that's their bag. For me personally, I like taking breaks where I have days where I don't draw at all, because I tend to work in much longer spurts. So I'm more of a sprint guy than a marathon guy. I like working and getting a lot done in one session, and then I take a break for a little bit. I take a day off or day or two off, or I do other things that aren't just drawing. I collect references, or I just do some simple sketches. Otherwise, for me, it gets too monotonous when I do kind of the same thing over and over for a while. I find myself itching to do other things. I oftentimes will stagger between full illustrations and small spot illustrations, little food sticker designs. I like having the variety, and I've been able to figure that out about myself by being flexible and figuring out and allowing myself to play and experiment with these things. So there are some people who like doing the same thing, and they are very much a focused person in that way, and that works for them. So for you, if art is something that you simply don't have the energy to do every single day for long periods of time, that's not a problem at all. I think when you have this kind of attitude, when you're especially trying to work through a period where you're feeling down about your skills and your ability, and you start second guessing yourself, that's a really good opportunity for you to build stamina and resilience and flexibility. And in a lot of ways, those are skills that are the most important in trying to be an artist as a career. The skills are important as well, but if you are too rigid and you're too strict and you're just too hard on yourself, then you will end up being your biggest enemy and almost stunting your own growth if you don't allow yourself to be free while also being disciplined. You can have both. Another thing that really helps me with my art is things that are not related to my job as an illustrator at all. I have a creative itch, as I think a lot of artists do, where they just simply have this desire to be creative and to create things. And you can scratch that itch without picking up a pencil or a stylus or a paintbrush at all. You can find creative media that really inspires you. You can do other hobbies that involve creating. This can be classic hobbies like crafts, sewing, embroidery, knitting, crocheting. These can be other, maybe less conventional ways of creativity. Some people find that doing slightly more logical things actually helps them with their creativity. There are many things I think that you wouldn't expect or most people don't look at as creative. For example, my brother-in-law, he really likes fly fishing, and one of the things he does is making the little tassels, little fly fish thingies. And to me, that's very much creative. It's definitely more of a hands like labor creative process, but it's a different skill. And to me, that definitely feels like something that is a bit expressive. You're putting something together and you're creating something that didn't exist before. This very much still fulfills a creative energy and a creative need. So there are a lot of unexpected ways that you might find to help fuel that fire for you, where maybe the original drawing or painting isn't quite doing it for you right now. I had a week where I was really focused on getting a lot of artwork done. Right before Zenkai Con for the prep, I was doing all sorts of art to try and get new things out. And then afterwards, I just lost all motivation to create because I had done so much of it in a short period of time, which was unfortunate because I felt so much inspiration and motivation right after Zenkai Con, but then once the mania of it all went away, then I felt very drained, and creating kind of became the last thing that I wanted to do. But the grind never stops, and I'm very much very work focused, in that I always want to keep things moving and I want to keep it moving consistently and constantly. But I'm always trying to balance that of keeping things moving in an efficient way so that then I'm not taking really long breaks because I've pushed myself too far. That's another thing, is that a big reason why I don't get art block that often is because I make sure to treat myself with kindness, and I look at my schedules that I create for myself really realistically, in that I understand that I'm scheduling this work for myself and there is a chance that it will not go my way. And if that happens, I shouldn't punish myself for that. I shouldn't push myself to work longer hours than I originally set. And I shouldn't find more work to do if things go the opposite way, where I've finished something quicker than I did. Having this consistent flow of energy and also adjusting that energy when my personal life is taking more of it than I expect has really helped me to not have burnout and to not have art block, because I'm really flexible in that. So that means both in my personal life and in my art, I can be flexible. I can let things ebb and let things flow and not waste as much energy worrying about the ebbs. So then I can celebrate the flows, if that makes sense. Recently as well, I picked embroidery back up, which is a hobby of mine that I do not super often, but sometimes I do it. And when I did it recently, I had completely forgotten how much I enjoy it. And it really brought about a new flow of creative energy that is kind of a separate bucket from my illustration. It doesn't necessarily inspire me in the way of my career as an illustrator, but it does fuel the flame of creation in general. Embroidery has nothing to do with drawing, but because they are both creative things and they give me ideas, and the key is that they give me joy, they end up influencing each other in that way. So the general rule of thumb here is be nice to yourself, be kind, let yourself take breaks. Remember that it's not that you suddenly can't draw. It could be that you actually just have a more seasoned and more skilled up observation, and that you're able to see the weaknesses or the things that your art can improve on more easily than you used to. And this isn't a bad thing. It doesn't mean that your art has sucked this whole time. It actually means that you're about to level up, because as sure as your taste is to get more refined, your art skill is going to follow. It just might be slower than you'd like it to. And this is a reality that you can accept and understand, and you can see the weakness in your art skills right now, and also understand that you are working towards that. And it is this ability to recognize that you will continue to evolve, whether you feel confident or not right now, that will take you much farther than anything else as an artist. If you want to hear more about ways that I have improved as an artist and become a happier artist, both technical skill-wise and also philosophically, then you can check out my Idle Chatter number 2, where I talk about how to be a better and happier artist. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below a drawing that you had art block on, what you struggled with, and how you went past it. Have a lovely day. Until next time.